Okay, it's Sunday. It's the 7th. Tomorrow's the first day of class. I hope everyone's got their invitations to their course. If not, let me know. They were late getting out. There was a snafu in Canvas about restricting students before the course starts and after the course ends that I had to correct because that's not the case. That's not what we do. But it probably delayed sending out invitations. But as soon as you get your invite, uh, well, if you're listening to me, you have your invitation. Anyway, I apologize for the delay. Hopefully by now you have your textbook. If not, Mr. Woodrum will probably be taking care of that. You can call me and say, hey, I don't have my textbook, then I can't get in touch with Mr. Woodrum, and we'll go from there. All right. Uh, Lots of videos in this course. Uh, we're not done yet, uh, just getting started. The objective here was to go through the cross section, and we've done that. And then we were going to go through a profile view, and what you're looking at right now is a plan view. On every set of drawings, you're probably going to have all three of those items. You're going to have a plan and a profile. Usually, they may or come together, like on top will be the plan, on the bottom will be the profile, and then somewhere there'll be a sheet with the typicals, as I call them, which is the cross sections and at what stations they will work, let's say. So let's get into this. And again, I'm going to read what the book says so I don't get off on a tangent and it'll keep us going. The book I'm reading from begins on page 33 under the heading Plan Sheet. And it starts out by saying Figure 2-4, what you are looking at right now, is a top view, as they're calling it, but it's looking at what's going on from above, a topographical view. If you look closely, you can find the street width identified as 32 feet. And I will help you identify that right about here. There's the street width at 32 feet. It's in about the middle left-hand portion right here, the book says. This is the width of the street from the right-of-way, you may recall, to right-of-way as shown in the street section detail back in figure 2-1. So we are continuing, believe it or not, and let's take a quick look. That is figure 2-1, and here is the 32-foot right-of-way. And if we compared stations, I suspect maybe not. We're definitely not going to coincide with these typical sections. So anyway, as you can see, we're following Camino Road. As you will see, let me get back to where we were. We are on Camino Road. Somewhere it says Camino Road on this thing, I believe, but it is Camino Road. So the first thing they talked about was the 32-foot street width, and we found that. And then went back and looked at the cross section of the same street and saw that indeed it was right away to right away, 32 feet. Next, and that was in section B back there that we looked at. The thin line down the street is the center line. Now, this is going to be a bit hard. I have exploded the view a little bit, but it distorts the pixels or whatever you call those things. But if you follow my circle, I'm taking you right down the center line of the road, right through here. I'm still on it, still on it, still on it, still on it. Here goes. You can see it's a long dash and a short dash that represents center line. So there's the center line going down the street. It has a small circle every 100 feet indicating these stations right here: 62, 3, 64, 65, no, 61, 2, 3, 4, and 65. And out here is 66. They're calling that the property line. These circles, I promise you, are tiny on your drawing, but on page 31, where the figure is, if you go to the far left, where it says Camino Match Line, you will see a little number 61 right about here. Well, actually, it's showing you right there is 61. Well, that matches up with the station number 61. Now, if you follow this road on past, right here, on past, this is a 6-inch sanitary sewer line that we'll talk about a little bit later, perhaps. But go on down, and here is 62, and you can see it, but there's a little dot on the circle right there representing station 62. Now, we're going to go on down to find 63. 62 will go all the way to here, and here is another dot, and you can almost read 63, but that's where you are. And as we continue down the center line, which there it is, on down the center line to this 64, this dot, 65, there's a little dot right there on the center line where my arrow is, and there is, I can't find it here, there should be a 65 here, I believe, because this is 65 is in here somewhere, because we're in 65 plus, we're in 65. I'm looking for dots on the center line. There's the 64. Here's the 65. Right after the sanitary storm, you can see the sanitary sewer. You can see this number 65. That's station 65. In your book, you can see it pretty clear. And then you go past this sewer situation where you have a manhole and I think it stops right here, but that's got to be some kind of inlet or drain. So anyway, we go on out to 66. Okay. Now, let's read on where there are call-out numbers. I'm reading on page 31 again, top of the second paragraph, to the profile plan in 2-3, to help locate the areas that we'll be discussing. Find number 1. I'm looking right at it, am I? The arrows, I think there may be 2 number 1s on this thing. Yes, there are, and are we pointing at the same thing? Let's see what it says. The arrows point to lines indicating the length of the 2 vertical curves. So let's find those on this sheet. Everybody knows what a vertical curve is, I believe. Right now, you don't see a vertical curve because we're up in the air. If we go back here, these are the vertical curves right here that it's talking about. So it's telling you in this number 1, which I believe this one here, I just saw another one right here. So these indicate the length of the 2 vertical curves on this sheet. So the two vertical curves go from and you see them here, this two, this is the other. So this vertical curve goes from here to here, and this one, as you recall, is the concave and the convex is down here, but this one goes from this point to this point. This is the very and you can't tell anything now because it's a horizontal curve right now. There goes the center line on it. But that's what that indicates, where the curve begins and ends. The vertical curve begins and ends. This looks a little bit off, but you never know when you're looking at plans. Uh, the way they look as compared to what they're saying sometimes don't jive, as we discussed in our last video about the vertical scale being way different than the horizontal. And the case we just finished was one, the same length on the drawing was 100 feet in one case, and then in the vertical case it was 10 feet. So enough of that. So let's read on so we get through this thing. Now look at the number 2. It points to the center line. Boy, these things get hard to find. See, here's a number 2 right here, but I don't think that's the one they're talking about. Now, I could be wrong. Let me see. We know where the center line is. There's the center line. This number 2 is pointing over here to something else. And this number 2 is pointing to the center line, these vertical curves. This, I'm not sure about that. I hate it when this happens. Number 2 points, both are 200 feet long. Okay, each of those curves are 200 feet long, it says, but it's squunched up on this because of the scale. It looks like they're really close together. They're not. Number 2 points to the center line. I'm guessing of the curve, but I'm not sure about that, because that, I think that is another one of those things I can't imagine, because that doesn't look like the center line of anything to me, unless it's the dang center line of the curve, but I don't think so. I just don't think so. Let's read on and see if we get a little bit more light on it. To the right of the point indicated by 2C, oh, I am so sorry. I am reading in the wrong area. So let me kind of start over. You find the street width. I got on the wrong page. We're okay. Hold on tight. We found the width of the street of 32 feet, and we went back and verified that with the thing. And now the thin line down the street is the center line. We've talked about that. And then we talked about every 100 foot. There's the 62. There's the 63. There's the 64. You would have a station marked. So we've talked about that. Now, above the center line, the plan indicates a 6-inch right here, sanitary sewer with 2 manholes. These were also shown in 2-3. I would go back there easily, and but let's find them first. Here, I think we're talking about these 2 right here. I think we're talking in this. These were shown in figure 2. The manhole at station 65, 63, 54 shows the 6-inch sewer line ending. Well, this looks like an end to me. And this is station, hold on, give me a second. Flip back and forth. This is station What did I just say? Hubson upon 6-inch shoreline. There's also a sewer service coming from the manhole. Let's see. Okay. What are these stations? 65, 63, 54. So we can find 65, 63, 54, and it's going to be in here. 65, I think I got it right there. 65, 63, 54. So there's one right here, and it shows the manhole back to the curb, and there's also a sewer service coming from that manhole to backup curb at station 65 plus 78. Now 65 plus 78 is right there. Oh, quit. Right there. Quit that. I don't know. Anyway, it's right there. It's too much for this thing. There's 65 plus 78, and it says sanitary sewer. And what it said about that, I lost. Hold on. With two manholes, 6563 shows the 6-inch shoreline ends right there. Right there. And then there's also a sewer service coming from that manhole to the back of the curb right here, right here, right there, to the back of the curb at station 6578. No, here is 6578. Yeah, exactly, right where I showed you. This is 6578. So that's that. There's also a 12-inch water line. And here that is, right here. And it's going right down through here, 12-inch water line. And this is we're passing by our 15-inch storm drain right there. But we continue to go with the water line, and here's the 15-inch storm drain again. I hope it gives me trouble the whole time. There's the 15-inch storm drain again, and we continue to this manhole, which is storm water. Now, storm water and sewer water don't mix, or you're not supposed to mix them for sure. So you see that's a separate. Now, this is storm drain coming from probably over here because it's given a flow line of a pipe going under the road to this manhole. And then it doesn't, because the little boat acts like it's going that way, perhaps it is, but these storm drains are gravity flow, and so they're going to go downhill no matter what. You recall the vertical curves over there. So there's a 12-inch water main running just inside the curve, and we looked at that. And when you go here, you can easily see this 12-inch water line going here, and that's the profile view of it. And this shows the plan view, the top view of it. It says C12-inch W indicated on the left side of the drawing, 12-inch W on the left side of the drawing. It shows an air release valve right there. There's an ARV, air release valve, at station 613441 right there. Continuing on, in addition, it shows two valves next to a fire hydrant blow off, indicated by the two black bow tie looking symbols. And I don't think you'll ever be able to see this, but it's talking about right here, right here. That all that black mess is, when you look at, if you look at the drawing in your book, you can see it a little better. that it is some kind of conglomeration of things, and it does look like a bow tie, but it's valves in and out, and then a blow off, and it's right in here. So it says FH BO for blow off 63 12.96 right here, and then your valve symbol right there, air release valve, and then the fire hydrant with a blow off. Shows two valve necks. We see that's okay. They are perpendicular to each other and a little hard to see in the charts. You can also see sewer services connecting to the lots at 6275. See if we can find 6275. There is a 6298. That's in the threes. 62 is here's 61, here's 62, here's 63. This is 63 right here. And it's showing, what's it showing? So, sewer service connected to the lots at station 6275, 98, and 6414. Here is 6298 sewer service connecting to the lot right here at 6275 right here. There's a lot right there with an elevation on it. So we got that out of the way. The squares with the numbers 1 and 2 in them pertain to plan keynotes. A square with 1, I'm not sure that there's a way too many 1s in here, but 2s are here. What are they saying? Those are some 2s. The squares with the numbers 1 and 2 in them pertain to plan keynotes. That's going to be some information at the bottom of the drawing indicating the type of curb required. So if we go down here, 1 indicates curb and gutter, and 2 indicates the transition type, 1 to type 2, curb and gutter. The elongated Ys, as you may recall from the grade plan, indicate a slope coming down to the road shoulder ditch with a swell or shallow channel at the top of the slope. These guys are coming down. See, these are the elongated Ys coming down to the road shoulder ditch with a swell or shallow channel at the top of the slope. This is the swell. A swell is a ditch or a low spot. I'm not going to go all the way with this, or maybe I am. That's at the top of the ditch. I don't see any elevations, just flow line elevations on here. That we're at number 5 in my book. Let me take a gander here. 459, 468. This is flow lines, so it's going up, up. Yeah. So it would be, we want the water to drain. That water looks to me like it's all coming down here. I'm assuming this is a lot number here. Is coming down here. This, look at this right here, is this to me would indicate a draw coming down through here, and it hits this gravelly thing. They call it a energy, it has a name and we'll get to it, but it slows the water down when it hits here, and it also prevents sediment. But when the V's, when you see V's like this in contour lines, you go the top, this is uphill going like this, so the water's running down through here, and it's going to be slowed down by this, and the name will be in here pretty soon. And then it's going to go under the road to another one, and then it this here is continues downhill. This water going all the way down across and under the road and to maybe to wherever, because this is probably clearing out all the sediment. Okay, so the Y's, we got that for the slope. So it's saying that the slopes are 2 to 1 or less. The summit, okay, let me read this. The flow line arrows indicate the direction of water flow. Notice they point in opposite directions away from the summit elevation. Where's the arrows? The flow line arrows. That's something I didn't see before. These are little arrows, but I'm not sure that's what it is. But if we see some, I don't see any. I do not see any arrows. But I can tell you that that water is flowing in the direction I'm showing. This is a diversion right here, the swell, to move it back over to here and maybe somewhere out here. This little swell in here, and this slope starts up again, and then it hits another back slope kind of affair at the curb here, all along here. Okay, we got where the small black square is located at station 6134. Let's find that right quick. Here it is, 6134. 61 plus 3, 4. I just saw that. The small black square is at 6134.41. 6134.41 right there. You can almost read that. If I go back and forth, I had to find it again. 61 small, okay, 6130 and 6159.76. 61, that's 45. 6159.76. Here, it's on the other side, guys. 6159.76 is right here. Now, if I can find what it says about them. These things are indicating water services to the lots that they're going into. So that's what they are. And then we get to these rock, here's what they're called, erosion control pads at each end of the cross drain line at station 63, 83, 33, 63, I can't read it here, 63, 83, 63, 83, 33, right here. This cross drain goes from a 24-inch to a 36-inch pipe as it picks up water running down from the slope and out the other end. It goes from a 24 to a 36. That's a big pipe coming out over here. So there's not much that we didn't get to cover here. We're not going to talk about the drain profile. After going through what we've been through, it's like a it's called Drain Profile E. It's on page 35. How far? Where's that? It's a little further, a little further, a little further. It's this guy right here. And I don't have it exploded, so it'll be hard to read. I just figure out you could do that and still and it makes it a little bit clearer. But in your book, it's not too hard to read. So go through this and read. There's a note pointing at the upper end of the drain pipe that says storm drain profile E. What is it pointing in? I don't see no arrow. Here is the finished center line right there to get you started. It's at 450. This is the original ground profile right here. And it's also talking about the center line. This is the center line, finished center line right here. I'm thinking, because it says it again, storm drain center line right there. So this ought to get you started a little bit. All of these things are like going at the bottom. This is the flow line at 436.80 feet. It has a 36-inch outlet. Then you go up to this fella. It's 400. It's a flow line 438.45 feet. It has a 15-inch outlet. It tells you all where the outlets are, the inlets, and this like reading down here. These things you'll be talking about. Oh, I think these are going to be like your station at these stations here, and you can read them from up here. You know, this is 10, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I would consider these as feet, square feet, and you can verify the locations of these, but they will also tell you at this first one right here. It's hard to read maybe for you, but when you get in your book, you'll see it's 10 plus 39.75, and it's going left to right. This one right over here is 9 plus 41.91, and it tells you. Again, don't forget this is your dirt right here. I mean, you're coming out of the side of a hill with this thing and going down 10, 20, 30, 40 feet with this thing. Goodness sakes. But you're in the side of a hill. This is interesting. I'd be, if I had time, I'd go ahead and go through it, but I don't want to. We have to keep moving. We're just trying to get enough footing, right here in the early stages here so we can advance. On the next page, page 36, this is a detail of a head wall. You can read about that. Please do. I will do it myself. And this is like a what's the figure say? A road plan. But I think this is a rebuild. It looks like to me. There's something here, and I haven't gone through it. But here's your stations right in here. I can't see. See here, remove driveway culvert. Place 10-foot linear feet of 53-inch by 41-inch. That's probably the metal. See, it's saying 14 gauge, so that's a metal. We call them culverts and tin horns here. I don't know what the SRPA. I would guess it's like corrugated or something like that. Trash racks, things like that. Go through that and see what you can get out of it. This is going to be, I think, talking about some. This is going to get into some wild cross sections, I believe. Uh, let's see if I can find you. You're going to get into these templates. This won't give you any problem because you've gone through it. But as we continue, and you will find, hope soon, Uh, this is going cross country. This gets really interesting. When you see this, you just say, my goodness, they're going to build it up this far. But remember, we're talking about a scale here that's way different than the scale across here. So it makes it look, but here's your road. Now, there's a question in your little quiz about which one of these will there be a cut involved. Well, that's probably not the one because they're going to have to build that up. This one maybe will be a cut involved. See what you can figure out. Here's your typical right over here, which is represented right here. If we had time, I would go through it. I find this kind of interesting. This right here was a little bit hard for me to get in my brain the way they describe it, but it's just all this is about building a detour around road construction. It's really good. It's just kind of hard to get your brain around it as you read it without just, really seeing something. But take a stab at it, and we'll expand on it if needed and get your questions answered. And we'll try to get on to Module 3 here uh, shortly. We're not going to rush through this. Let me remind you, if you have issues come up, family, work, whatever, and you need to do something that you can't be in attendance or whatever, call me, let me know. We can always work some things out. I won't see you Monday probably, but that's when we'll get started again. So have a good rest. I hope you had a good weekend.